Tonight, the Saskatchewan Roughriders and their fans get ready to host the first home playoff game since 2021. Also, the race heats up for mayor in Saskatoon. We have highlights from this morning's forum. Plus, a Regina company is hoping to make the world's longest trampoline.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Friday, November 1st, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, happy Friday, and thank you for watching. For the first time since 2021, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are hosting a home playoff game at Mosaic Stadium. The BC Lions will roll into town today for tomorrow's West semi-final. The Riders finished the regular season second in the West at 9-8-1, just ahead of the 9-9 Lions. They'd played BC twice, defending against two different quarterbacks. Last time, the Green and White had an impressive victory against BC quarterback Nathan Rourke. But we know Vernon Adams Jr. will be behind center for tomorrow's game, and the Rider defense says they're ready for him.
Very mobile, and he's aggressive at the same time. He likes taking shots down the field. He has a great ability to move in the pocket. He can manipulate the pocket well, and then that's not even when he gets out the pocket, it's trouble too. So, I mean, we all know what kind of player he is. He's a complete player, complete quarterback. He's one of the the better quarterbacks in the league. So he presents all the challenges that you would expect in a big-time playoff game, honestly.
We're going to go out just like if it was our first game or if it was, the last game of the season. We're going to give our hardest, and, we hope every single time we're going to come out with the best outcome. So,
injuries should not play a huge role going into this matchup. BC had every player available in practice to start the week of preparation. Samuel Emelis, AJ Ouellette, and Roland Milligan Jr. were also full participants for the Riders. And we know fans will try to play a role too, making a hostile environment for the Lions.
It's so exciting time of the year, and I hope they go a long way.
Challenging. It was interesting with a bunch of losses there in the middle, and it started really strong, and then we lost a bunch of games, and everybody was kind of wondering what was happening, and now we've rebounded, so here we are.
Oh, very confident. I have a lot of confidence in this game, so I think we're going to do well.
Enjoy the game, enjoy the moment, and play well.
In other news, two Riders are facing fines after last weekend's game against the Stampeders. Defensive back Marcus Sales for making low contact with two of Calgary's players, and offensive lineman Jacob Brammer for a late unnecessary hit on a Calgary defensive back. We don't know how much they have to pay, but the max fine allowed is half a game check. The Roughriders will kick off against the BC Lions in the West semi-final tomorrow at 4:30 at Mosaic Stadium. Three of Saskatoon's mayoral candidates are offering starkly different plans on the issues facing the city. Don Aitchison, Cynthia Block, and Gordon Wyatt took part in a debate on CBC's Saskatoon morning radio show. Scott Larson breaks down each candidate's position.
When it comes to homelessness, Don Aitchison is proposing building tiny homes on vacant city property away from residential and commercial areas.
People shouldn't have to sleep in a tent this winter. They should be able to have a tiny home that provides them either with a stove, a fridge, a sink, a washroom, electric heat as well. Those are things that we can accomplish immediately with the provincial government, and we can get it done.
Gordon Wyatt says he'll look at renovating abandoned houses and houses not being fully utilized by the Saskatchewan Housing Corp. Cynthia Block wants housing for the homeless to be near services and says she will create a task force that includes the community and business. On crime, Block says besides making sure police have enough resources, the root causes have to be addressed.
In the long run, we also have to make sure that we are building community safety from the ground up. And that's a different approach. That's neighborhood and business district safety plans working together, and also focusing on youth, a place for youth to be, including a 24/7 youth drop-in center.
Wyatt says if elected, he'll decentralize the police by building small precincts in different parts of the city. Aitchison says the idea of adding more precincts just means more officers inside and not out on the streets. When it comes to the contentious Federal Housing Accelerator Fund, Wyatt says council should have waited.
fully supportive of more density in the city of Saskatoon, but to throw away 120 years of planning in this city of Saskatoon for $41 million, none of which I don't think we're not going to receive the whole $41 million. And now we've heard that the leader of the opposition, if he's elected next year, is going to throw away the whole plan.
Atchison is firmly against the fund, while Bloc wants it, but with incentives to keep mixed-use buildings right beside the new link transit corridors and away from the centers of the neighborhoods. All the candidates say they want to lower the property tax burden on residents. And when it comes to a new downtown arena, Bloc says if it impacts property taxes, she'd vote against it. Atchison says we should stick with the SaskTel Centre, and Wyant says he'd only support building more convention space at TCU Place. Voters will have their say on November 13th when the civic election is held. Scott Larson, CBC News, Saskatoon.
Another mayoral candidate has released his vision for Regina's future. Bill Pratt published his platform on Friday. The former nonprofit executive says he believes council needs to have a unified and shared vision of the city.
I do not come in with a playbook saying this is with an iron fist saying this is how we're going to do things, because when you do that, that's how we get the problems that we have today. A mayor comes in and says, I want this issue, that issue, therefore I need to get these many people on side. Doesn't matter what the others say, because I want to move it through.
Pratt is the second candidate to release a full platform in Regina. Incumbent Mayor Sandra Masters released hers earlier this week. Advance polls are open now until Monday. Election is set for November 13th. Meanwhile, the results of the provincial election are becoming clearer. We now know that the NDP has nearly swept the big cities, while the Saskatchewan Party continues its hold on rural ridings. So, how will this impact the legislature when our MLAs get back to work? Our political panel weighed in on the morning edition.
Well, rural one, and that's where the first problem lies. It's a problem both ways, absolutely a problem both ways. I actually think in many ways it's a bigger problem for the NDP because they have a very urban one, urban northern. And while that's great if you're maybe in government and you're focused on delivery of specific issues, because if you look at health, social services, education, that might be more suited to sort of urban environment issues, and they'd struggle to get an environment minister. But in opposition, it's a problem because they can't move forward in terms of reaching that other half of the province. They're going to be dealing with issues in those particular areas where they're going to be hypercritical of everything going on in health, education, et cetera, as they have been, and also because that's where the meat and potatoes are, and that's why they doubled their seats in the election. But I don't know if it's helpful in terms of expanding them. They have to reach out more. They have to present better than they obviously did in the election campaign. For the government, huge problem, obviously, because you're looking across the way at a very large, largely women, or certainly a significant number of women, a lot of them professionals, a lot of them well-educated, a lot of them already seasoned and capable in the legislature. It's going to be way different look, a way different house sitting from the gallery looking down at, after years of looking down at these little rumps of 12, 14 opposition members. They're going to cover the whole side. And that's physically going to look different and going to be different in this particular legislature. So right off the bat, there's going to be that. There's going to be issues like the change room policy that is going to immediately divide because the dynamic of school board trustees on the government side and teachers, tons of teachers, and the opposition side. I think it's going to be really quite nasty off the hop. I hope everybody takes a breath.
As we head into the final week of the U.S. election campaign, rhetoric is heating up. Republican candidate Donald Trump is drawing heat for recent comments about Liz Cheney, the former Republican lawmaker who has been an outspoken critic of his. Trump described her as a war hawk and wondered aloud how she would feel if guns were trained on her face. Cheney described Trump as a dictator who threatens opponents with death. Democratic candidate Kamala Harris was also critical of Trump's words.
Anyone who wants to be president of the United States who uses that kind of violent rhetoric is clearly disqualified and unqualified to be president.
Both Trump and Harris are holding rallies in key battleground states of Wisconsin today, the key battleground state rather, 1,200 kilometers east in Washington, D.C. There is growing concern about possible violence on Election Day. Police have boosted security, and at least one McDonald's franchise was spotted boarding up its windows. Opinion polls suggest Harris and Trump are locked in a dead heat with the election just 4 days away. My goodness, it looks a little more like summer than November 1st down on the riverbank in Saskatoon. What a stunning day on the water in the Bridge City, but looks can be deceiving. And while it is sunny and clear, the temperature's a little chilly today. Ethan will be back with your full weekend and game day forecast after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A Prince Albert waiter is making his customers feel special one word at a time. He's learning Cree, and he says it's bringing joy to his customers and a new perspective for himself.
It really started like, I just asked my table what language they spoke, and so I just discovered that most people in the restaurant were speaking Cree. And so I'd say like tansi or wananto, which is like, you know, I'm not, nothing's wrong, I'm doing good. And then I would just ask like, okay, it's like maybe I'm giving them their food, and I'd be like, well, hey, how do I say like, how's your food? You know, and I would just literally every day I'd ask new customers, like, just teach me one more word, one more word, one more word, and just moving forward that way.
And obviously really related to what you're doing as well, which is the best way to learn, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the words I do know, I know really well because I literally use them dozens of times every day. And so that's the best way to do it, I think.
And how have those reactions as you've been learning more vocabulary and continue speaking with people? What have you seen from your customers?
Yeah, it's been really beautiful, honestly. So, like I just the other day, I was serving a table, and it's really hard to gauge people's reactions at first because some are like they're so surprised, it's almost like they don't know how to react. Like it's pretty unusual, I would say. And so like one guy, he just started laughing, like he just couldn't believe it.
How has this learning that you've been doing and the interactions that you've been having with your customers affected you and how you feel heading into work every day?
Oh man, I couldn't speak more highly of how this experience has gone. Like when I first started this job, I mean, it was high stress, you know, there's a lot of frustrations that I had. And so, some days I felt like you're just like, you don't want to go into work. You know, I get up in the morning, it's like, oh, here comes another day of stress. And, but once I started doing this and I started seeing people's reactions, it completely changed my perspective. And I could see that, it's almost like the purpose of my job now became to reach people and to express love for them. And once that became my goal, it was like, now I want to go to work. Now I look forward to, because it's like every day is an opportunity. Every day is a chance to reach people, you know? And so it completely changed my perspective of working.
A Regina company is leaping to break a world record, 1 foot of stretchy vinyl at a time. Sarah Onyango explains.
Crazy Ape is a local company with big, crazy ideas. They design and make things like trampolines and gymnastics gear, and people all over the world are their customers.
Everything that comes out of this shop is handmade, and that's kind of a marketing piece that we really try to push to the general public whenever we sell, is handmade, handcrafted.
After a recent order for a 40-foot trampoline, a new idea sprung, a 100-foot trampoline. And they want to go longer.
We're going to double it to 200 feet and smash the record for the world's longest trampoline.
So I thought, maybe I can finally dust off this idea and finish it. And lo and behold, that turned into the 100-footer, and now we want to go for the world record.
The team at Crazy Ape says it hopes to build a 200-foot-long trampoline. They say, right now, the longest trampoline in the world is in Russia. It's 170 feet long, and it's called the Fast Track.
It's the same system. We built it up to 100. Really, all we got to do is build a few more components, and someone's got to spend a little bit more time making a really big long bed, but the first one worked the first time, and we're pretty excited to break the world record with somebody.
The team is still figuring out where such a trampoline would go, because a really long trampoline needs a lot of space. But its creators want it to have a life beyond the world record attempt.
I don't want to see it taken down and, dragged out for the record attempt and then just put away. We'd love to see it live on somewhere. Again, it is modular, freestanding, so it could be moved, but we'd like to find a pretty cool home for it. So ideally here in Canada or even Saskatchewan, but we could theoretically send it anywhere.
So, no matter what happens, Crazy Ape is hoping this is an idea that everyone can hop onto. Sarah Onyango, CBC News, Regina.
This weather update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Regina, proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
And our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now, back in regular clothes, a high-pressure system. Clear you and your friends away?
Yeah, we a little bit too much wind around for us to stick here.
Prairie problems.
That's right, yeah. Anyway, feeling a little cooler today after taking that all off, which is nice. But not feeling cooler in terms of our temperatures across, especially south and central Saskatchewan. Still under the influence of this frontal boundary here, which has the warmer air to the south, and that means another day of temperatures into the double digits in many locations once again, 10s and 11s in many spots there. But, you just go a little bit further north and westward, and behind that boundary, we have temperatures only near freezing in places like Kindersley and the Battlefords. But it was certainly a warm October for a lot of us, and in fact, across the province, all of us in the range of about 1 to 3 degrees warmer than we should be. And in terms of moisture, well, it's always a bit of a tricky story when it comes to moisture in a certain month. But in October, a lot of locations reporting very dry, and especially as you see there in the Battlefords and Moose Jaw, second and third driest Octobers on record, respectively. And going further north, though, this is where the moisture was. We were closer to normal moisture the further north you were actually in the province. Now, we might have a little bit of moisture of our own moving in over these next couple of days. I think tomorrow, though, going to be quite a nice day, partly to mostly sunny skies across south and central Saskatchewan. The cloud cover still largely in place across the north. Then everybody gets cloudy overnight Saturday into Sunday. That'll make for a warm night, thankfully. But this next low pressure system, that could bring some sprinkles to parts of south and central. I think, though, as we get into Sunday, most of the moisture is going to begin falling into northern Saskatchewan. The south and central regions get into kind of the dry sector of this system, and we'll be looking at some sunshine. But this pretty quickly changes over to snow, I think, by Sunday afternoon. And especially as another low develops in the far north, we'll be seeing some of that snow moving closer to the northern border before everything clears out into Monday and we got the sunshine back, save for, again, most northern locations. So a few millimeters of rain possible here, and if this mostly falls as rain, I think we're looking at near 5 millimeters in some parts of the north. But again, I think we're looking at maybe a couple of centimeters of snow being picked up. Nothing too significant, but Sunday, likely the not so nice part of the weekend for many of us. Winds will pick up a little bit at times too. I think tomorrow will be a bit of a breezy one through south and central, and then we're on the south side of that low for Sunday. So some breezes here and there once again. But for Regina, again, a beautiful day for the Rider game as we jump up into double-digit temperatures tomorrow. That holds through the weekend. Again, I think we see the clouds clear out for Sunday before temperatures drop into next week. You'll see that kind of similar shift in Saskatoon, a bit of a cooler Sunday and Monday. We have the possibility of our next system bringing some rain and snow on Tuesday, so enjoy these next few days while you can, Sam.
That sounds like a Tuesday problem.
It sure does.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
NASA's Mars Perseverance rover has captured images of what appears to be a cosmic Google Eye. The rover captured the silhouette of the moon Phobos passing in front of the sun during a recent solar eclipse. And it does indeed resemble a googly eye staring down from space. The moon's orbit is expected to one day send Phobos crashing to the surface of Mars or break up to form a ring, but it's safe for now. According to NASA, that won't be for another 50 million years. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Collins Dictionary has announced brat as its 2024 word of the year. And it doesn't mean what you think it means. The dictionary defines it as someone characterized by a confident, independent, and hedonistic attitude. Brat became a cultural phenomenon when British singer Charli XCX dropped her hit album of the same name over summer. It even landed with Democratic candidate Kamala Harris's presidential election campaign, after which Charli XCX gave her seal of approval, proclaiming on X, Kamala is brat. Los Angeles was a blue city today, not melancholy blue though, but jubilant Dodger blue. It was a day to celebrate Wednesday's World Series win. Double-decker buses chauffeured the champions on a morning victory parade. Fans were welcomed for a Dodger Stadium party afterward. This was a bittersweet series for Los Angeles fans. It began 3 days after the death of Dodger pitching legend Fernando Valenzuela. Today would have been Valenzuela's 64th birthday. And Ethan is back with one last look at your weather.
And we'll be starting on a mostly sunny note tomorrow in Saskatoon. Again, -3, not a bad wake-up temperature, feeling closer to -7, but I feel like a broken record. Just like the last few days, we warm up very quickly, 5 degrees under mostly sunny skies, and a pretty similar situation in Regina, -3, feeling closer to -10 by 8 a.m. We'll get maybe a little bit more cloud cover and a bit of a breeze as we head into the afternoon. And then just in time for kickoff at 4:30, the Lions come to town for the West semifinal. We're looking at a gorgeous temperature of 9 degrees. Again, that wind sticking around, but hey, for November 2nd, Sam, a gorgeous day down at Mosaic Stadium.
I hope to see you there on Cloud 9.
Hey, well, I sure will be. Come on down.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And before we go this week, if you're taking down your Halloween decor, you could pop your pumpkin in your green compost bin, or you could drop it off for some hungry animals. A Regina area petting zoo says it will take your old jack-o'-lanterns for animal feed. Just be sure to remove any candles or toothpicks first. Fennec Farms has drop-off locations for the next few days, including here at the legislature, as well as a few others in Regina, Balgony, and Pence. You can find the addresses on the Fennec Farms Facebook page. There will also be a small petting zoo here along with food and drinks until 7 o'clock. And that is it for us this week. For news anytime, head to our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or download the CBC News app. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.